Are you looking for a product that can be summertime ready? A product that you don't have to worry about melting as much in the summertime? Well, then this product is going to be the one for you and your business. Hi, my name is Nicole, and I help skincare business owners and DIYers craft their formulas and develop fragrances. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a formula for a body glaze. This is going to be very similar to a body balm, and I wanted something that's going to be soft and nice in texture that you don't have to whip and can be easy to make and be really great for the summer months. This might be your great alternative. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a tinted option for the body glaze, so you can do like a tinted moisturizer. Then I'm also going to be sharing a pink shimmer glaze that you can make, and I'm also going to be showing you how it looks when it's just all completely cooled down if you just want to make it without any color added. Let's not waste any more time and get right into the video. Now, to start off, before we get into the formula, I want to share the differences between your body butter and a body glaze. Now, with your body butter, you are going to have a product that has a lot of softer butters, not as much oils. It's going to be a more like thicker consistency, and it's also going to be whipped, so you get this nice airiness to your product, making it a lot more prone to being melted in the summertime. Now, with your body glaze, this is going to have more waxes, have higher percentages of thickeners within it as well, to really give you a nice creamy consistency, because you're not going to have a whipped product at the end. This is going to be something that you want to be able to glide on easily to the skin. It's not going to be something that's going to be too thick. So you want to use a good portion of oils, butters, and thickeners within this product. But you want to get started with a soft butter. Now, I'm going to be using cocoon butter. This is a really nice soft butter. It has a creamy, nice consistency. And when it comes to a body glaze, you don't want anything that's going to be too hard throughout the whole entire formula. You're already going to have your beeswax and your thickeners within this as well. So you want something that's going to be light and creamy and be able to make the body glaze a lot easier to use. Now, you can also use mango butter here if you want to use that instead. That's going to be another one that's going to be very soft as well. And shea butter is just going to be maybe a little bit too hard. You can probably still use that as well, but I think that with the nice texture of the cocoon butter, it will help to make it a lot softer of a product altogether. Then we're going to be using cocoon butter. Now, cocoon butter is a really great alternative to cocoa butter. And what I like about cocoon butter is that it's actually a bit softer. It's not as hard as a cocoa butter. And it allows for you to still have the firmness that you want, but also don't have to worry about the smell. And you don't have to worry about the, overall really dark yellowish color. It has like the nice white color to this as well, making it look a lot more pleasant and, prettier when it comes to jarring this product as well. And you're going to see that in a little bit. Then I want to go ahead and add in our oils. Now, I have 3 oils that I'm going to be mentioning here. So I have rice bran oil. I'm also using castor oil and apricot kernel oil. These are going to be a mixture of really great thick oils. Castor oil is going to act more of like a wax and really help bind the oils and butters together. And it's just going to be like a nice thick consistency to use in a product like this. Again, with your oils, it's also helping with like your overall thickness, making it a lot easier to use and apply, so it's not too hard of a product. You still want this to be usable without having to whip it. Then we're going to be using stearic acid. Now, a really great alternative to this would be cetyl alcohol, but these are going to be thickeners, and it's going to give it a nice creamy consistency as well, give you a more butter-like consistency without having to actually add in additional butters. But I like this because it's going to add in some more thickness and raise the melting point. The melting point of the stearic acid is going to be 157, so that's really high, especially for the summer months, so it makes the product work very well. Now, the last ingredient we're going to add is going to be beeswax. Now, your beeswax is going to be like these little pellets like this. That's going to take a little bit to melt down, but beeswax is going to be a really hard product to use and to melt. But if you want to have something that's going to be more vegan friendly, because I know a lot of people like more vegan friendly options, then I would use candela wax. Now, this is going to be a more finer, more like a flaky consistency than the little pellets of the beeswax. This is going to be a really great alternative. Now, what I will say about this wax is that it's going to be a little bit thicker than beeswax. So with this, it's going to have a little bit more of a harder consistency. So you may want to play with the percentages, but I think it can still be a good 1-for-1 depending on how you want your glaze to feel. So still try the same percentages that I'm using, and I'll share all my percentages and a little bit here as well. But if you want to use something that's going to be more vegan friendly, then I would use this option instead. And I'll have everything linked down below that I'm using within this product so that you can try it out for yourself. So we're going to add in the beeswax to our mixture of everything that we've already mentioned, and I'm going to add it to the double boiler so we can get everything melted down. So now we have everything completely melted down, and I have it as all one cohesive oil. Now I'm going to share with you how to make a more like shimmer pink color, and I'm also going to be sharing how to make a brown tint as well, so stay tuned for that. And I'm also going to be sharing the transferability and how to get rid of that issue. But first, let's pour it into the 4-ounce jar that I have here, because I want to just see what this looks like when it's completely cooled down. So if you want to just have the option where you're just playing with fragrances and not having to worry about any colors, you can see exactly what that color looks like in its natural state. So I'm just going to pour the whole thing in. And you want to make sure that you pour it in and then you just allow for it to cool. And you can already see it's starting to cool down a little bit because the jar is cold, but you want to make sure that you don't move it very much because you don't want it to like mess with the nice solid top. You don't want it to look like it's sinking in. So I'm just going to move it to the side and completely allow for that to cool. Now let's get into this pink color. Now you guys, this is going to be such a nice pink color. Now I have this, you see? So now I have this nice shimmer. This is a peach shimmer that I got off of Bad Mica. Now this is going to be a really pretty color. It's very shimmery, but what I did is add in a little bit of red oxide. Now with the red oxide, this is just going to add in a little bit more of like a pink color, make it a lot more vibrant, and it's actually going to absorb into the oil, so you really see that color come through, versus with the shimmer where it kind of just sits there and it doesn't really absorb in. So that's what I really like about actually using the oxides along with it. And what's nice about the oxide is that it's also not going to transfer onto your hands. You don't have to worry about it being all over your fingers, along with adding in the shimmer. Now, to also test out for this formula, we're also going to be adding in arrowroot powder. Now, arrowroot powder can also go into when we're talking about transferability, and I'll talk about some other ingredients that are going to be great for that as well a little bit later. But with your arrowroot powder, this is just going to allow for it to soak up some more oils, make it a lot more velvety and creamy and smooth of a product, and it not feel so oily. Now, I know some people are okay with the oily feel, and if you're okay with the oily feel, then leave it as is. But if you want to add in some arrowroot powder to get rid of that, then by all means. So I'm just going to mix that in. Okay. All right, now I'm adding in the arrowroot powder just to this formula itself because I just want to see how the arrowroot powder plays as far as transferability goes with this product. And I'm adding in my pink, and I just blended it all together. Now what's nice about the oxide as well is that it's going to absorb into the oil very quickly, so you don't have to worry about adding in the oils first. You can do that, just pour in a little bit of it first and then see. But we're just going to add it right in. And as I mix it, you can kind of see some of that pink come through from the red oxide. At the end of the day, pink is a shade of red. You just use a little bit of red oxide to get pink, and there you go. So red is still going to be a really great color to use here. And as you can see, you can kind of see that red starting to mix in up at the top, and that's a little bit of the shimmer as well. Can you see? So we're just going to continue to mix that because you want it to kind of all be together. You don't want it to settle to the bottom of your jar either. So we're just going to continue to mix here. Now, if you are wanting to, now for this formula, I'm only using 1% of the mica because I don't want it to settle. Now, if you use more than 1%, even more than like 3%, then you're going to run into it settling to the bottom. Now, with using like around like less than 3%, then with that, the amount of time that it takes for the product itself to cool, the shimmer won't have enough time to be able to settle to the bottom. So, and it's also being absorbed into the oils as well. So you don't have to worry about having that issue. Now, I'm okay with the way that this is completely mixed in. I don't think it's going to mix in any further. I think all of the shimmer is completely absorbed, and so is the oxide. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into our second jar. Just make sure you get all the sides. And luckily with this, it's already very hot, so you don't have to worry about it already starting to harden. So we're just gonna pour this in. This is such a pretty color. Oh my goodness. All right. So again, you don't want to touch it too much. We're just going to leave this to the side so that it doesn't begin to cool and mess up the top of the product. Okay, now when it comes to having like a tint or any shimmer, you want to be very careful of your transferability, and you want to make sure that it's not transferring all over your hands. Now, I also made a brown tint because I wanted something that I could use that can give me a slight tint. I want to be able to use it on my face as well, and be able to use it just on my body to get like a really nice slight tint for it. And what I really love about this color is that it can also be, you can easily like kind of layer this on. Can you see me? So I'm going to add this to my arm, and you can see a very slight color change, right? It's a very slight color change. But if I add in a little bit more, around the same amount, then it kind of layers on, and it looks like I really have like a more like a tinted moisturizer on. Now you can, what's really nice about the way that I made it is that you'll be able to layer it and be able to have medium, like light coverage, medium coverage, depending on how it is that you want it to be made. With using this brown, the brown tint, I don't know if you can see this difference in my arm, but my arm, you can see the brown, the more even tone of my arm here versus on this side. Let me know in the comments if you really see the difference, but I think it really does make a big difference with just a little bit more being added for more of like a medium coverage. And I can go ahead and add in more and have more of like a heavy coverage, but I like the way that this looks. It's not transferring, it's not on my fingers. Like I still have like a nice, you know, glossy finish. So this is great for the summer, great for the poolside, great for the beach, because you don't have to worry about it, you know, leaking off when you're in the water, and you still get a really nice tone, and your whole skin tone is going to be more even. Now, when it comes to this product, I did go ahead and add in isododecane. Now, when it comes to isododecane, this is going to be a really great ingredient that you're going to see in a lot of makeups because it's going to help with the transferability. This is also a product that's used in a lot of lipsticks if you want to have more of a matte finish. So when it comes to having a product that's not going to transfer, using an ingredient like isododecane or IPM is going to be a really great way to be able to get rid of any transferability. As you can see on my hand, there's none of the brown oxide on my hand, and now you can see both hands here. This is one that I was rubbing in on when I was not. So you're not going to see any brown on your arm, and brown is going to be a really hard color to not see. So if you want to have a product that's going to have a slight tint to it, then you can do something like this. Now with one of these jars, I did go ahead and add in the isododecane because I wanted to see how it's going to change the transferability. Another really great ingredient to use for transferability is going to be arrowroot powder, because arrowroot powder is going to actually absorb the oils, allow for it to be more of like a powdery finish and for it to dry. Because the biggest point when it comes to transferability is that you want the product to dry as quickly as possible, so that's not transferring from one surface to another, from one hand to another. So by adding in the arrowroot powder, it gives you a nice dry finish. Adding in the IPM, again, another nice dry finish as well. But IPM is going to be in a liquid form like this. I put it inside of this little container and added it to mine. Now, as you can see, this is a really nice brown color. Now, what I did in order to get my brown color for this tinted balm is that I went ahead and added in brown oxide. I'm going to show the percentages for this as well right here on the side, so you can use this for yourself. But I only did 1% so that you can have that layering of the light coverage to medium coverage. And so I added in the brown oxide, and then I also added in red oxide. Now with the red oxide, this is just going to be great if you have more of a red undertone. Now I have more of a red undertone and a slight bit of a yellow as well. Now you can also add in yellow oxide to be able to help to warm up the color. Now if you don't have yellow, then another really great alternative is to use a gold shimmer. And this is going to have a little bit of a yellow hue to it. A gold shimmer like this is going to work really well because it has a nice yellowish tone to it, and it's going to give it more of like a shimmer to it as well and make it a little bit more shimmery and glossy of a look. So by adding in the yellow and a little bit of shimmer, this gives your product a lot more of a nice glow that's going to look more like your skin tone. Now if you don't have more of a red skin tone, then I would just use yellow and then also still add in the shimmer to give that glow that you want. But since I have more of a red undertone, this mixture works out really great for me. Okay, so now we have to get into the results of our body glaze, because these body glazes came out really, really nice. So I really want to share with you the texture and my overall thoughts as far as the, having IPM in the product and not. And then also the effect that the arrowroot has on the product as well. So let's check out the overall textures. Okay, so when I first poured it out, I wanted to see how it looked like without any color added to it. And I think it just looked like such a beautiful color, and it's still just like a nice, like kind of like off-white color. And this is with yellow beeswax. So you can get a white beeswax, and that can still change the color, make it more of like a white consistency. But with the stearic acid and then having in capicua butter and the cocoon butter, that really helps to get this white color. It has like a little bit of yellowish tint to it, and that's just from the beeswax. So again, white beeswax can work really well here, and even with the other wax as well, you're still gonna get that slight yellowish tint. So I think it's still really pretty. Now, if you want to add any color to it, like I was saying before, it's not going to settle at all because it was able to suspend and thicken, and you don't see any of it settling at all. The shimmer is going throughout the whole entire jar, which is beautiful. It has a really nice, beautiful color, and it completely like evened out. There's no cracks or anything within the body glaze. That's really what you want, because this looks really great as far as presentation, to have a really nice, soft overview. It's best to do it this way so you can have a really nice overcast of the overall product. Now with the brown, I love the way this one came out as well. Again, a nice little overcast on it. Nothing is settling. The oxides are going to soak up into the oil, so you're not gonna have anything that settles, and it just all came out really beautifully within these jars. But let's get into this texture, okay? Because when it comes to this, the pink one with the shimmer, it has a really nice, beautiful texture here. I did go ahead and add arrowroot powder to this one, and I just want to see what the texture feels like. You can see this is a really nice creamy consistency. It's not grainy at all, and it feels really nice and smooth. It has a nice, like, slight tint to it, which is nice, just to have for the summertime, or just for it to be like nice and shimmery for, display purposes for your product. But it feels really nice. It's really soft. It glides right into the skin very easily. It doesn't feel tacky or waxy at all. So I really love that. And I think the stearic acid is what really helps to give you that oily or, butter-like consistency without the actual, butters and oils. And then also with the arrowroot powder, I think this has a nice like powdery finish. It's not oily or like grabby at all. My hands are not really greasy. So it feels really silky and smooth. Now, as far as when it comes to our isododecane, because I added isododecane to one and not the other for my brown mixture. And I have to say, let's check out the texture. You guys, look at this. It is such a nice, creamy consistency, easy to use, and just like look how soft it is. I love this. Now, with this being something that we're going to be using ideally for the summertime, this is going to be a perfect consistency, because as it gets warmer and as it's shipping out, you're not going to have to worry about this product looking like oily or anything like that once the person gets their package. It's going to be within the same consistency. There's no whipping going on with this product, so there's no airiness within the product, so it really gives you a good base for summer months. Now let's look at the texture. Wow, look at that. Such a beautiful consistency, and I love the nice tint that it gives. And this is just more of a close-up view from what I was showing you earlier, but it has such a nice brown hue to it. Let me go ahead and blend this all in, because I want you to see the difference between both arms. Now I only added a little bit here. You can see that there's a brown hue here. It kind of evens out my skin tone versus on this side. You see less veins on this arm. So I think it just really gives you a nice hue. And then if I wanted to add a little bit more, I can do that. To add in another layer to make it more medium coverage. This is like foundation in a jar, y'all. Foundation in a jar. I really love this. This is really nice. I'm definitely gonna be using this in the summertime, and the arms are out and the legs give you a nice, nice like creamy, even skin tone Very beautiful. Now, I will say that with the isododecane being in here, it does help to dry it out. Now, went ahead and added another layer. But when you saw that before without the additional layer, you could see that it, blended into my skin very easily, very quickly, and it's not very oily. Now, since I added more, you can still see more on my hand. But overall, it blends in really nicely. If I were to put it all over my hands, it dries fairly quickly. So you just want to keep that in mind, that if you're going to, you want to keep that in mind that if you are going to layer it, that you are possibly going to have like more of like an oily cast on your arm, and it's going to dry down, especially with you having isododecane in there. And I only use isododecane at around 10%, and that's really just to help again with the dryness, and I think that it really does achieve that. So now I really love the consistency of these body glaze. This is one simple formula, and I just changed the color of them just to kind of test out how it's going to settle or not settle, and I think we've gotten that down. Chef's kiss on that. Now, I will have to say that it is going to be a bit of like a thicker, creamier consistency, and my whole point of that was to help this be summer ready. I wanted you to be able to use this formula and it be great for the summertime, and that even if it did melt just a little bit, or if it was just a little too warm, that it wouldn't change the overall formula and consistency of your product, and you'll still be able to ship it out without having to have any issues and worry about hot climates as much with something that is really melt and pour. So this is a really great formula to definitely try out. Now, I will say that if you want it to be a little bit softer, then I would just play with the percentages of the beeswax. The beeswax is really the hardest consistency within the formula, so we're using it at 13% here. So if you really wanted to dial down on the thickness and the hardness, I would bring it down to maybe 11%. Test that out, and if it's still a little bit too hard, maybe dial it down to 10%, maybe 9%, and see where the consistency lies that you would want for the beeswax, because again, that is the main culprit for why it is the hard consistency that it is. But let me know down below if you're going to give this formula a try and what color you are going to do when you do make this formula. Now, I have to say, these are really great butters to use for your skincare business and really great for the summertime. But if you also want to make shimmer products that are very unique and different for this industry, then watch this video here where I share with you how to make shimmer products in a different way, and I'll catch you in the next one.